James Derbecker here with Crescent Kayaks, and today we're introducing the Shoalie. Not only is it a new kayak for Crescent, but it's also the first kayak in the Specialized Fishing Line. As we started going into this market, what we really truly feel that gives fishing kayaks value is very efficient management systems. And when I say management systems, what I'm talking about is an angler's ability to manage their rods, paddles, anchor, and also how the boat paddles specifically to assist the angler. Also, we have a lot of great partnerships and friends in the industry, so we were very mindful to integrate those products into this kayak. So when Crescent goes into a market, we want to go there with authority. And we feel like who we've partnered with on this kayak is one of the greatest authorities in the industry. He's a renowned angler, and he's also just an awesome guy. I remember the first time I ever went out with him on the water, I called my dad and I said, we can build a line of kayaks around this guy's knowledge. And ever since, I've been blown away by him. He's Crescent's director of fishing, and you guys know him as Gregory.
All right, what's up, guys? All right, so the Shoalie. This is definitely an inspirational kayak. We're gonna start with the bow, and we have this very unique handle you see here. It's kind of odd, right? There's a cam strap, there's a handle. What is it? It's actually something I'm calling a cam track system. And I developed this because, you know, a lot of times with kayak fishing, you go to your lake or your river and you need to, drag your kayak. You might need to tow it over your shoulder. So the handle, obviously you can pull it up and it's a typical handle, but you can adjust the length of it. You can just simply pull some strap out. If I wanted to make it a little bit longer, I can adjust it here, make it a little bit longer. You could actually take the entire handle off if you want to as well. Take the entire thing off and clean this gear track up. So once you're on the water, if you do not want this here, maybe you think it might potentially catch hooks, handles sometimes can, so you can get rid of it completely. If you want, you can put a spotlight on here, you can put a GoPro, you can put a Yak Attack roto grip, so the possibilities are endless right here as a rod stager. And of course you see more rod stagers on either side.
This is a new hatch system for us, and we're very pleased with just the overall performance of it and the compression we've been able to achieve. We'll get into the features of how we did that here in a second, but typically on a lot of these kayaks what you'll see is a black hatch, and what that means is that it was thermoformed. Why we decided to go with roto-molded hatch instead of thermoformed is the level of geometry and details that you can do on a roto lid that's not possible on a thermoform lid. I mean, a perfect example of that level of detail is going to be that embossed Crescent. You'll never see a thermoformed hatch with that amount of detail, which plays into these great rod grooves. And then touching on, this is a dual feature item right here. So again, being mindful of hooks and everything like that, we sunk that down. And so when it's in the low or tight position, this can be rod management. And then with the rigidity of the material, it's actually able to rise up and do a paddle park. We even did the slightest amount of stretch into this to allow a little bit easier access for a paddle with flex. And I'm sure some of the guys in the bass world might recognize this. We partnered with Rod Saver to do this hatch. So again, we touched on how we achieved the compression, just really utilitarian design, but still high quality webbing, stainless steel grommets and bolts. And so it's a web hinge. We just feel like that's not gonna fail, or the plastic's gonna break or erode over time. And then just simple corner bungees to get our compression. So as we open this hatch, we kind of start getting into a little more angler elements, and I think you can kind of touch on what we were wanting to achieve with this and some unique features of our internal tank well.
The upper level is for maybe some smaller items here. You got a lower level, which is gonna be great for some bigger things, maybe some tackle boxes or a first aid kit or a battery for your fish finder. But what I think is really cool when you open this up that you see right away is these, internal rod storage here. So, and that really is going to protect those rods, keep them safe. That's the internal part of the hatch. And one of the coolest things, I like is the cataracte here, which again, we haven't really touched on this, but we will. This is obviously named after the shoal bass, the Shoalie. That's the nickname of the shoal bass. And the shoal bass's scientific name is Micropterus cataracte. So I love that little, I think you called it one time our little love letter to the shoal bass there in the front tank well.
I call it nerding out.
yeah, basically.
You're nerding out on.
Basically, yeah. Got the rod stager grooves right above the cubby here. And we're calling this kind of a cubby, fish finder cubby, if you will. Center console, whatever you want it to be. But one of the things I think is really cool and in my mind was I want my fish finder and my entire kayak, not just the fish finder, I personally as a river guy want things to be flush and seamless and integrated into the kayak. And your fish finders will recess in here perfectly flush, and then you can just go straight through the hole right here to the front tank well for your batteries. And so obviously that's a real easy install. You have this cool little iPhone holder here. So, you know, if you're not using it for a fish finder, and even if your fish finder happens to be short enough, you know, your iPhone can go right here for live streaming or a selfie. It's just a great spot to put it right there. And a lot of
that's a modern
bags,
feature, you know. A lot of guys are going live, taking pictures of their fish. It's just a nice way to manage your phone. And then another thing that, again, tying into this whole system with graphs, battery, we'll flip the hull over in a little bit, but we also, you know, tied in the transducer recess right there as well. For the guys that do want to stand assist, that handle is pretty cool, can be completely removed and relocated to this location and used as a stand assist. You'll see for the first time we've included a custom cut pad kit. That pad kit's going to be noise deafening as well as a little more comfortable for standing. And then, yeah, you already touched on it, like with all Crescents, and again, that's still staying true to that platform-based roots. We have Yakutat GearTracks throughout, so guys can put any accessories they want. Again, made in Virginia, that's really important to us. And then we'll get to why the foot pegs might be so important, the adjustability of this boat, the foot pegs. We'll get to that in a little bit, but we have adjustable foot pegs by Select Designs. They're out of Washington. Again, American-made companies that we're partnering with. As we get into this section in here, we really start to get into the integrated products and features. So, and these were really important to Drew, and I think, you know, really unique to the boat. So, Drew, you want to kind of start talking about the integrated products and how they work? Sure.
So, obviously right here we've got, it's pretty obvious to me, but maybe not to you, but it's a catch board recess. And we've got our standard, you know, foam measuring board here. So if you're not in a tournament, you're just fun fishing. You know, not everyone tournament fishes, and quite frankly, you know, getting out there, that's how I cut my teeth, was just getting out there fishing. And I think people know me as tournaments now, but I just like to go, and I want to stop doing this and go fish right now. So anyway, this is a way you can measure your fish, and your catch board fits seamlessly right down in there, your measuring board. So you don't have to move it for a tournament. And that's big for me. I mean, honestly, just having it there is so nice. And as you move back a little further, this is really cool and unique. Again, we've got the Yakutat Roto Grip here, and you can see what's unique about it. You can spin it and move it in however you want. So this is going to be for your paddle, for a rod, for your net. This is very, very versatile. A little further here, we've got the, it looks like a cup holder to you guys right now, and it is, okay? But it can also be an Anchor Wizard recess. It's nice that it's integrated right into the boat, and that custom bracket that they're making, and that custom Anchor Wizard for us is really cool, so you guys can pick those up.
Typically it's gonna be literally on top of the boat.
Of, if a GearTrack somewhere, kind of in your way, clunky, but now nice and integrated into the boat. So I'm excited to have that.
Great thing to mention is just the amount of structure and kiss-offs that we put throughout this floor that's really gonna stand the rigidity, or stand the test of time with rigidity.
Explain what that is, because that is super important on why and how this floor is so strong and just sound.
Crescent, we use a triangle kiss-off, so you get the strength of a triangle, and all that structure rests on the top of the floor. So we have, as we flip over the hull, we'll see the grooves that house the kiss-offs, but there's a ton of structure throughout this boat. That's gonna help the longevity of the boat. Also, it's gonna make for a really solid floor when you start standing and fishing and walking around on it.
Rod butt stagers right here, and I actually love the fact that if you slide, you know, the seat's here in the high position now, if you slide the rod butts into these stagers here, a 7'1" or 7'3" rod, a very common length rod, it makes your baits actually lay just exactly at the end of this kayak, where there's not any, you know, rod sticking out to catch on things. So it's really nice how we've got this length and everything just kind of dialed in perfectly.
So now for the elephant in the room, this is a Crescent with a high seat position. The feature or the benefit of a high seat position is going to be the visibility lines are going to be increased when angling, and then also it's going to make it a little easier if you want to stand and cast. Ties into why those foot tracks adjustability is going to be really important, and also why for the first time we were willing to do a little bit of a cubby, because as your center of gravity pulls further back, you're naturally going to have more room in the kayak. Sometimes it's easy to take for granted that everyone knows our story with our manufacturing, but I still want to touch on you know, the quality and just the heart and story behind Crescent, which is always going to be, you know, our manufacturing stories and quality. So getting into some of that. The fabric is made in Georgia. The seat covers are hand sewn in Anderson, South Carolina. I'm a minimalist guy, a little active, you know, but guys have pushed. I still believe, you know, and love our perforated seat on the other models, but just, again, we wanted to really listen to the market. So we did a 2.5-inch surgical foam closed cell. Closed cell means it's not going to absorb water, so that's not going to be any concern. For the Crescent community, we will be selling this seat aftermarket. It will tie right in directly to your current seat. So if you do want to have a seat with a little more cushion and foam, that's going to be available online. We're really pleased with the compression we're able to get with the center tie-down system. To drop down is very, very simple and easy. And touching on why would you want to go low, right, in the low position if you're getting into rapids or current. Also, where I really find myself wanting to do it is getting caught in a wind. It's really nice to be able to drop down, or, you know, at the end of the day, you got 2 miles to go. We know some crazy stories with this guy trying to get to the dock. Sure. So you wanna drop down. One final thing I do think it's a great time to start talking about is the materials that we use in this product and boat. Just touching on some of it. I mean, you're going to see throughout the over-engineered, overdone security bars in stainless. I can't wait for people to interact with this cam strap. I mean, this thing is heavy duty, and just in the non-compromising element. To give you an idea, guys, an idea on this Anchor Wizard, to do those stainless pad eyes, it's 12 times the cost than the plastic ones. But that's what I believe can set us apart. We don't compromise on those materials, and ultimately it's going to really elevate the boat. And with the materials, it's a nice time to tie into also. I think people should care what their kayak's made of. You know, what's the materials? Where are they sourced? And I'm proud to say that this boat is made with Intech polymers, AquaTough, and what that means is that we are making this boat out of the absolute best material on the market. And that's not just some adage or some, you know, saying. They have, through test studies, that their material fails the least in the entire industry. And that's why we're confident to boast a limited lifetime warranty on the Shoalie.
Awesome. Well, trust me, I'm going to need that AquaTough for the places I'm going to take the Shoalie. So obviously underneath here, we've got plenty of storage for your Plano boxes, and actually little, I don't know what we call them, but little kind of raises there. You know, so
Plano stops.
Yeah, they're Plano stops. There we go. That's the term we're going to use. You know, I'm calling it right now. You called it, I guess. But Plano stops where they don't slide around, and you can just put whatever you want underneath there in the high position. So this bungee here, it can stretch over. The 3600 size Plano boxes fit really good in here, stretched over. I believe the 3700s will fit too on the side here. And then we're working back a little bit further. This is something that I sort of reimagined a purpose for this padlock, you know, paddle holder from Yak Attack. And basically, with this bungee, a little bit shorter than the typical one you would buy from Yak Attack, calling this right here actually the rod holster. So this isn't a rod holder, it's a rod holster. Yeah, it's right there, ready to whip out. So if you miss a fish on like a buzzbait or whatever lure, and you've got a certain one that you like to hold here to follow up and just throw right back in.
Touch on that angle too, because that was a really big thing too. A lot of those interior rod tubes still kick up really high.
Real high. Yeah, this is super low angle, so nothing in this boat's going to be sticking up and out of the
black pack will.
It will fit in here. Yeah, the new black packs will fit in here. And you'll notice again, a very unique system, guys. This is not bungee, right? This is a cam strap.
We went back and forth, so I'll tell it real quick, because Drew had the idea for the cam strap, and I'm like, dude, bungee. It just didn't make sense, and I've certainly eaten my words on this thing. I think one key element that made the cam strap so functional is this low mounting point, so you can really get the downforce and compression. But I'm telling you, for anyone who's skeptic when they see these cam straps, I was the biggest one, and I've just found them so functional. And we actually made this landing is able to receive a Yak Attack track. You can easily do the Crescent knobs like we typically do it, and do bungees. And then I think probably people will notice this big cutout, Drew. And you want to talk about what's integrated into that?
If you have a Boondocks landing gear, you can put it here. Seamlessly integrated into this boat if you want to use one. And obviously the landing gear is pretty cool because the wheels just flip right up. And I love, again, this American made embossed right here. in the tank well. It's pretty cool. So
yeah, it's what we really stand for. So
exactly.
Drew already touched on internal storage options if you did want to cut out the front tank well, but here at the stern we do have a hatch. We have used this hatch on other Crescent products, but we put a lot of effort and energy into the design to make sure that the mounting area is really well nestled, so it mounts very well here. Also, we're using the highest grade 3M 5200 sealant in the back as well. When you take this hatch off, you also get the internal storage, but you get internal access for ton of rigging options. And then you'll see here the frog eyes. So these are exit ports for if guys do want to put a trolling motor on the back of this. There's a lot of cool options with plates, drag chains. So if you want to touch on kind of the stern and kind of some of the cool options.
Sure. So as you can see, all your stern mounted trolling motors will work very well. You got some drag chain channels right here, and you've got this 4-hole pattern that's become the industry standard. Yep. It's basically started with power pole, the 4-hole pattern. And if you're using a Torqeedo, I believe the Torqeedo mounts work there as well. Yep. We can get underneath here, just a quick drill right through with a bolt, a nut, boom, you're good to go. And then of course you got your handle completely back here in the stern. And the cool thing too is with the handle or power pole or Torqeedo, whatever, you could still even run a drag chain underneath all of this.
Yeah, that was a really unique feature that you had pointed out. So the deck, the top of the boat is only half of it. So let's flip this thing over and really get into the whole design and the paddling performance and really how this boat's set up. So the first thing I want to touch on, which has become pretty, a pretty staple with Crescent, is this bulbous nose. So this bulbous nose is going to keep you high in rapids and current. The overall shape of the boat is, a lot of people refer to it as the rocker profile. And essentially what the rocker profile is about how much yaw or curvature the hull has to it. That curvature is going to allow the boat to ride a little bit higher in current and not plow through rapids or waves. So we have a really nice rocker. It's not too extreme, but that's going to give a little bit of playfulness or, agility to the boat. And Drew really pushed us to let's get that thing flattened out. And I think, Drew, you can touch on why that was so important, and it even goes into angler aspects as well.
It actually drafts. It helps it draft super shallow. Yeah. And so that's really the thing I wanted to accomplish here with that whole design.
We spent a lot of time on R&D and also talking with experts in the industry, and where we really arrived at is the determination that tracking being your hull going where you want it or going straight, is really actually determined by the final third of the boat. So we can compress the center section, but and then you'll see a nice, great, gradual keel develop here at the back. So what we did do, that's I think should be pretty apparent, is we added some extra volume into these side chines. And with more volume on the outside, when you lean, your primary or your secondary stability is going to engage a little bit sooner. So I think that's going to be, especially again, listening to the market, I really feel like that added volume on the outside when guys start standing or, a little bit bigger guys, or they start leaning, that's going to give them that second stability that this market is really looking for. All right, now for the specs on this boat. So it's going to be 11 foot 10, 34 inches wide, have a weight capacity. That's a very subjective term. I would say 450, or at least, if you're going relative to Crescent, it's as much weight capacity as the light tackle with scupper plugs in. But I think the big difference that we really intentionally designed this boat is with scupper plugs out, it still has a ton of weight capacity. Full-size person with gear, it absolutely can handle without scupper plugs. And then the weight of the boat is going to be 77 pounds, which is absolutely, for the weight capacity, the length, it's still a very manageable weight that we're happy with where we came out with on it. We kind of have a cool announcement that we're going to, contribute, and if you want to touch on kind of what, us wanting to give back with this boat.
We're going to be giving a portion of the proceeds of every sale of a Shoalie back to the shoal bass, with their habitat restoration, with groups like the Flint River Keeper for this first season. For sure, we're going to be donating to the Flint River Keeper.
And they were awesome. They got us on the water. So, if you want to buy a boat, you automatically are contributing, so you can feel good about that. Or if you want to do a donation, we'll have that on the website. Really proud of this one. It's been a pleasure to work with Drew, and I guess there's nothing else to say, but this Shoalie's released.
It is released, all right? Go live in the current. See you guys.